Hey, check it out. I got a microphone. Hopefully, this will make things a little clearer. Anywho, let's get back to where we were, which was talking about document number 2, which was about these people. Oh, by the way, bye. Which was about these people who were in Costa Rica who agreed to defend the Spanish colony using the weapons they had from whatever enemies of the Spanish king. So sort of they made a deal with the Spanish. Having freed themselves, they worked further to incorporate themselves into the Spanish colony and become, to some degree, autonomous within it. Okay, so let's move on to our next document. We have Venture Smith. Venture Smith returned to his master and gave him what he received as 6 months' labor for the full sum of his redemption. So Venture manages to purchase himself. Like in document 1, we have a person who's enslaved who purchases himself about 100 years later. However, he also states, and it's interesting that this is his personal narrative. So he's telling you the story of this, and he says he was cheated. Okay. Now we go back to document 1, which is a legal text, and it just records this. How did Francis Payne feel about this? Maybe he felt cheated too. But you're never going to know because this is a different source. This source is intended solely as a legal document. Whereas Venture Smith in document 3, this is sort of his life story talking about things. Okay. So let's move on to document 4. Jean-Baptiste Antoine de Vergere, French officer, sketch American foot soldiers during the Yorktown Campaign, 1781. The Yorktown Campaign is, of course, the final campaign of the American Revolution, during which American and French forces pinned British forces and managed to extract American freedom out of it. You'll note that one of our soldiers is, in fact, of African descent. Why would he be doing this? Well, is the implication, is he free prior to this? Was he enslaved? We don't know. You're kind of just taking a guess at that. But clearly, he is taking an active role in his own future. He is fighting for his future. Whether he's already free and he intends to keep his freedom, or if he was in fact enslaved and is using this as a method to acquire freedom. You don't know. But clearly, this individual he has agency. He is showing that he has some power. Okay, and the French are aware of this. They look at the fact, oh look, 3 people of European descent and 1 person of African descent. Okay, speaking of agency and power, we move to our last document, which is Toussaint Louverture, who is leader of the slave revolt in Haiti. Remember, Haiti was, as the French colony of Saint-Domingue, was an extremely lucrative sugar plantation, which was roughly 95% enslaved and 5% free. The enslaved people rose up, having had the example of what happened in the United States, as well as what happened in the French Revolution in 1789, they rise up to claim for themselves the same sort of liberties that you see in France. And you see Toussaint Louverture using that same sort of language from the French Revolution. He talks about the blessing of liberty here. He says, we support our chains only so long as we didn't know in condition of life more happy than slavery. But today, when we have left it, we would rather die than being forced into slavery again. So clearly, Toussaint Louverture is giving voice to the fact that people who were enslaved were more than willing to fight and die for their freedom, as opposed to having the French return them to slavery, which was in 1797 what the French government under Napoleon Bonaparte was sort of leaning towards. Eventually, the Haitian Revolution defeats the French by the early 19th century, about 1804, and managed to maintain their freedom. All right, so we have 5 different documents. In one document, the earliest document, you have a person purchasing their freedom, but you don't know how they feel about it. In the next document, you have people who had acquired their freedom in some way or another, whether through flight or fight, who managed to sort of regularize their status. In document 3, you have a person who purchases their freedom but doesn't feel like they got a good deal out of it, that they were used, which is reasonable. And document 4, we have somebody who fought. And document 5, you have people who clearly fought. So if you're looking at this as maybe a continuity and change over time, you're looking at, as time goes by, people are beginning increasingly to fight for it. If you're looking at comparative, you could say there's